So today we are going to be going over this took a while because there's a lot of meta testing that ends up having to happen in order to make a video like this. So we're going to be going over all the combos for Black Shell, which I recently got first place with. This is TT, not Hasbro. Hasbro is releasing Black Shell though soon, so a lot more people are going to have access to it. I'm going to be going over the combos that I have used with this to some success and actually meta testing this with my partner and you know, getting kind of an idea for what Black Shell can really do and the different roles that it could play. This isn't just like an attack combo video or just a Wizard Rod video, so I am changing the format a little bit of how I do these. I know it's been a while and I want to definitely do more of these. But I want to go over all the combos you can use with it. Currently in TT, these work in both TT and Hasbro, and I'm going to be rating them off of from 1 to 10. And the reason for this is because at a 10, it is super easy for you to use. You're not going to have a lot of trouble. You're going to have an easier time, you know, it doing its job, versus a 1 is going to take an extremely skilled player. And it is going to be very difficult and you're going to have a lot of challenges to overcome. So a 10 out of 10 is a very easy combo that is very beginner friendly and far more forgiving, right? Than something like a 1 or a 2 or a 3. So without further ado, the first combo we're going to go ahead and get into is going to be Black Shell. And this is where I might lose some of you, because we are doing a couple of 80 height ratchet ones and we're getting those out of the way first. But in testing this against my partner, who's number 1 in our organization, and testing this against some of the other people that are in the top of my organization, and also just kind of picking parts and really trying to build for dedicated jobs, I actually found this pretty decent, which is 480 and hexa. Why 480 and hexa? Well, 480 does most certainly put us higher up, but the 4 ratchet is pretty well tucked in, and we have access to some down smash and destabilization with this bay. And I kind of found it a little bit interesting to use defensively. You're obviously going to have to be good at tech, but at the same time, I feel like it does afford you to get hit while angling, and with hexa, you do stand upright. And it's really good for drop launching or fit launching, which I have a tutorial on, specifically the winding fit. You guys have seen me done the regular fit where it just tracks up to counter the drop launch. But if they're going for like 3 seconds of hang time, 3.5, 4, the winding kind of works pretty well to get there. Excuse me, I'm still overcoming, still a little sick. I'm okay though. But this is a really good solid combo, and I'm actually going to rate this a 6 out of 10. I was kind of surprised by it in my testing. I was trying 460 on this, but the issue with hexa is that hexa does have a tendency to wobble back. Having a slightly more weight and not going with 5 or 7 seemed to work pretty well. This doesn't work too well with 7, and there are some... There's a 5 combo in here, but 5 is kind of niche with this, okay? So that's the first set. The second set that I was actually having a lot of fun with as just kind of a more defensive sort of stamina eBay that you can kind of build and do. And you're gonna wanna load the 3 up on the side, again, imbalanced, but it's sort of a defensive set using Gear Ball. Why Gear Ball? Because we can still use it as a chopper to attack other bays, but Gear Ball has a decent amount of stamina and tends to stand upright on 360, and you can sub this out for 960 if you really wanted to. I found that while you can still do things like drop launching it, you could still do things like theater launching it. There's you could still do reverse rail ride, oddly enough, with this combo. You're just going to want to not touch the rail and actually use the outer, like, rim. It'll push lightly, because otherwise you're going to grab it and you're going to hit. But the way that this actually grabs is pretty decent. 360 gear ball is not too bad. It has a little bit of aggression when it does get hit into the X rail. And on occasion, it would pick up KOs just by being pushed into the X rail, riding it around and hitting something. So I thought that that was pretty interesting. I wouldn't give this quite a 6. I'm actually going to give this about a 4 out of 10. I would put it at a 5, but you're really going to have to know your way around the gear ball bit. Next up, we have a combination that I got first place with. And I think is actually like really good. Let me go ahead and get the ratchet on it, and we'll go ahead and showcase it, yeah? So that is 360 and level. This is primarily used on winder, but you can really honestly use this with string. I did, and I had great success. This combo just works really well. It hits really hard, and especially with an imbalance, right? This thing just goes ham on a winder. And again, using a fit launch, whether it's direct or you're just, right, you're using the winding. My tutorial is technically on the winding, but it's really nice. And then you can also, again, fit launch to the other side and get a little bit of a, drop launch to the opposite side using the fit launch in that manner. With this, it is a little weird to use if your level is brand spanking new, but as it wears in, around the 4th hour of use, the level bit actually starts to really smooth these teeth out, and then you get a little more stamina. And also, it's a pretty aggressive bit. It's really not bad. I really like this. It was good enough to get first. So again, it's more of a matter of how you use it. The next combo that we're going to get into, and mind you, I'm going to give level, believe it or not, a 5 out of 10, because there are going to be some people who maybe aren't versed in level, and they're going to find it harder to use. But our next one is pretty high ranking, and to be perfectly honest, it's because its ease of use is right up there. It is a 10 out of 10, use a winder, 360 and low flat. Why low flat? Well, because all you have to do is just rip the winder really hard, caveman oonga boonga, and you've pretty much just KO'd whatever it is that they're using. Like it literally doesn't matter. Whatever they're using, it dies to this. I've gotten bursts. I've gotten just, God, dude, the KOs, ripping this hard on winder, it's GG. Like a really nice hard rip, and you don't have to do any tech at all. The problems take care of themselves. So as far as a rating goes, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10. It is a very beginner-friendly set, and it can really get the job done. Now, this one was a little bit of a favorite of mine that I've been using a lot more lately. That is Black Shell on 460 and Spike. Why 460 and Spike? 460 for stamina and stability, and also it's pretty well tucked in there. And then Spike, why Spike? Because honestly, Spike lets it hit back really hard. Now, there is a variation of this that Jeremy from the Blade Crashers created, which if you're ripping hard, if you're used to ripping very hard, because Jeremy is an amazing attack player, and he's automatically just going to, man rips harder than God. As somebody who's not an attack player, I kind of want a bit more of a balance, because I'm not usually going to rip as hard as an attack player. But again, I've always said there's two types of players in Beyblade: attack players and defensive/stamina players, because we use a lot of the same tactics in defense and stamina. And it's just, if you are an attack player, 560 and Spike works great. If you're maybe a beginner and before you upgrade to that, maybe you're working on launching hard and consistent with your power, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna have to go over 9K for the 5-sided ratchet, but for the 4, you could stay at 8.5, 8K, even in TT, and still pick up KOs because you're softer launching it. Attack types don't like this at all, especially not when accompanied with tech. I would actually give this a solid 7 out of 10, because if you're going to bother undertaking the endeavor of playing this bay, you're probably already a defense player, and you probably really like the combo, and it probably works really well for you as a defensive player. And I know what you're saying. Anything in the needle family. Well, the thing comes on dot, and some of you are obviously going to try to play it stock anyways. I don't want to bore you with a dot set, but we do have a high needle set, 460 in high needle. This one, we are going to give a 5 out of 10, but let me tell you, this is actually pretty good. High needle, again, putting us at the higher height, letting us kind of smash down, and especially with high needle, I swear, for some reason, high needle works best when it's worn. Like this one is worn and it's actually slightly delaminated here at the tip and it's kind of flatter. That just comes with use. There's no way around that. You're just gonna have to use it. But on a used high needle, this can be very lethal because you could either use it as an attack bay to just yeet into your opponent, kind of like the El Drago needle sets that I see a lot of. Just putting all that weight and mass with no traction into them, boom, GG, easy. Or number two, as a shielding bay, where the high needle gives you so much angle, and then the 460, if it touches, just kicks you up and puts you in a balance, so attack types can beat off their stamina. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's genuinely beautiful. I really liked this combo. So this combo is actually really good. If you're looking to play some defense, and you're maybe not good, you could always swap for regular needle, right? Works fine, but it's pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. The next combo we have, and I'm putting this one actually at an 8 out of 10, because if you're a defense player / stamina player and you're looking for a nice hybrid, this will definitely deal well with Buster. It is 370 in orb. Again, you can sub for the 360 if 370 is not your jam. But the destabilization on 70 is really nice. So attack types that are running, if you're seeing a lot of flow flat in your meta and you kind of want to counter it, this is a great way to do that. I think there's a lot of potential here. Using this, I was using it against Damien. I was like, this is Kino. This is fantastic. And 370 is such a good ratchet. People are like 570, 470, no, look. 370 works so well on this, especially with orb, as it's a bit that tends to kind of want to slowly wind its way back up straight. 370 is not so heavy that it's going to cut into your stamina, and it also adds a little bit of weight. And honestly, yeah, guys, I'm going to be real, 370 is kind of it. Especially if you balance tune this, it's pretty good. Even not even like hard launching, it'll still, even just barely softly with my fingers, it'll still want to stand correctly. So I think there's something to 370 playing against my partner. It was absolutely lethal. It's an amazing set. And I really like it. Now, if you're afraid of 80 height and you're afraid of bursting, you could go lower. I actually like 480 ball. 480 ball. This is probably the easiest set. It does somewhat stand up and behave like orb on 370. I was trying to replicate that, but with more weight, so you have something to smash into their attackers and just out stamina them. This is definitely more useful, I think, on harder rip. But I'm still going to give this a 7 out of 10. This is pretty good for an 80 height ratchet combo. And spending a lot of time with this and testing it, I was actually genuinely surprised. Okay, I was like, oh, okay. So there's a lot of tech this leans to. Whether you drop launch on the rail, like I prefer to, or maybe you want to just drop launch in general. When this thing swings down with the 480 ratchet, you are less destabilized when you hit them. You're maintaining stamina with the ball bit. You have more weight with the 80 height. It's just, it works really well. And then reverse rail stalling on a drop launch, which I don't like doing. Again, see my fit / crystal launch tutorial or any of the live streams where I do it and it's super direct. Because you can do it either or, it doesn't actually matter if you want to wind up, or some people prefer to just match them in timing and get to the pot, or get them there or beat them there by ripping harder. It's all going to be a matter of preference, but the technique works the same. But this set actually did really well for countering drop launch. It also has great stamina on theater launch. If you just want to yeet into that area and clash with their bay, you're going to recover pretty well. You will. You'll recover pretty well. Or maybe you're one of the slide droppers and you like to kind of slide your way there. It does it all. It's ridiculous. No matter how you want to do your attack, maybe you just say, you know what, I'm just going to mobile launch it. It's also a valid tactic. Second to last, and I need to really give some flowers to this combo because I was absolutely amazed. The KO potential of 360, I did test 370. 370 is not bad here. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Okay, an 8 out of 10. On 360 and elevate, right? Why elevate? I know what you're thinking. Matt, your camera is shaking as you're talking about elevate. Is it that good? Yeah, this is absolutely keynote. It's cash money. It's over GG real easy. You drop launch on them. Elevate gives you access to insane hang time. I was actually able to get 4 seconds of hang time on this in a TT Stadium, which I've done it before, but rarely, but usually with Dragoon on the right side, or on the X side of the Bay Stadium. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that this would be as good as it is, but it is. It's a fantastic combo, and if you're already not running Dragoon on Elevate and you want to run this, and even then, follow my Dragoon tutorial, right? 560 low rush. It's nasty. It's wicked. I also won the tournament with that. Last but not least, this is a 10 out of 10 combo, and it's going to depend on the type of point you have or how good you are. Upon playing with it, I did get second place, though, on the A4 mold point with 560. But you can most certainly use A1 or A2. Works fine. A2 and A4 are much smoother. Smoother. But I think that there's something to be said about A1. I've noticed that I really like the aggression of A1, but it's an aggression mixed in with slight defense. You have less stamina. I'm not too worried about that because I've noticed with A1, you can really just, and they're all Hasbro I'm talking about. A1 can really get the job done. So it's the secret sauce, the steak sauce. So whichever mold you have, even on A8, it tended to topple over a bit because that's a more defensive set kind of point. But Hasbro A8 still worked. No matter what point you have, it just prefers A4 and A2, but A1 is serviceable. But I thought I'd show off the A1 combo because I thought it was actually pretty good. 10 out of 10. It's a fantastic combo and it's super beginner friendly. It's an easy way to take out your opponent, KO them, especially on the fit launch. A1 as a counter for the drop launch or for any of that stall or even rail stall. Shooting up there and then riding the X rail is a very important part of the fit launch because you're clearing them out if they're trying to ride a reverse X rail ride. It just stops it on the fit launch. And again, you can look back through my live streams of how it works. It goes, ends up there, rides. Now it's different with Dragoon because Dragoon, you're not going to want to tilt, back and then tilt on an angle and then back. You're going to want to tilt like on an angle and then forward because you are left spin. Bear that in mind. But you will climb up there and then usually shoot down and then clear out. So like you just catch them off guard and it's a lot better than, in my opinion, reverse X riding. So Black Shell really likes that technique. On A1, it is a clean transition if you're good enough. It is a clean transition. Granted, I invented the fit launch. It's been there a while, but it is a really easy, simple, effective way to just A1 just puts rod out. And it's really good. This blade shape and profile is really good for dealing with Phoenix Wing and beating off most attackers that would try to make contact and KO it. Like as long as you're taking your technique and applying it correctly and you're positioning yourself for success, you're occupying space and you're tracking the opponent down, this is absolutely phenomenal. Just super good. And I still think that level is very similar. Level just has in my opinion, a bit more aggression. I think it's going to come down. You can use 560 and low flat, by the way, in level. I don't really care for them as much. I'm going to be honest. I think 360 is better because you have access to the recoil. It's how you get those KOs. You are just pinging them out of the stadium. I had a few bays when I was testing with low flat, including Rod 960 ball, that just got yeeted out of the stadium, just like out of the top, out of the actual cowl. So these are the combos. These are the breakdowns for Black Shell. I've done extensive testing with an extremely skilled play partner, testing with a play partner who's really good at attack, and just testing with a bunch of random combos that were meta that might still see use. Some things that I was combing through some of the organization's postings for winnings, everything from the WBO to the BBAX, I think it's called, just a whole bunch, just to see what combos people are using. Buster on ball. I tried everything just to just kind of get it, and also testing against Aero Pegasus, which in and of itself is very difficult to beat. So I think that you're going to have an easier time with your matchups in tech with the combos that I've rated higher versus lower. Lower assumes that it's not bad. It's just it assumes you know what you're doing and you're a high skill player. That combo is not going to treat you like a novice, like you don't know what you're doing. Whereas a higher combo does not necessarily mean better. It just means that it's a little easier to use and you can pick up KOs and pick up wins without really knowing what you're doing. So that's how that selection process is. All the same, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you found this video informative. I have another one that I've done of some extensive meta testing on another bay that I think you guys are going to like that video, especially since this is kind of my bread and butter. What sets can kind of fit where, and I think with the new numerical value system that I'm using, you guys can really make a more informed decision, and especially with me kind of breaking down. Obviously, this is a chopper with some destabilization down smash. Look at its profile. You could also use upper. There's so many ways to use this. It's absolutely fantastic. It's sloped. It gets right under the ratchet. It hits the ratchet, and then it just, you could see, it just tears apart at your opponent's, if you want to focus, tears apart at your opponent's bay. It's fantastic. I don't even know how much longer this one's going to last. I'll just order a new one. By the way, I'm going to be doing a review of Arc Wizard and Drawn Brave. I do have those coming in the mail eventually when they ship. But in the meantime, I'm still going to be doing these kinds of videos until we get some more CX in. I don't think the bays are going to be competitive. I think the parts will, and I'm interested to test those parts out on bays that are already existing, including Drawn Sword, because we now have a right spin Cyclone. And I like Cyclone on Drawn Sword, but I think I'm going to I think it's called Vortex, a little bit more in that 660, the 455, low orb. I think actually this is going to benefit from low orb a lot. And I'm thinking low orb with that 455 might just be good, or maybe low rush on 455 on this. There's a few things I definitely want to test out with the new CX bays, and just see how they work against the meta, because this thing had no problem with Silver Wolf. We broke a Silver Wolf with it. It had no problem with Rod. It was a very efficient bay, very versatile. We had a lot of combos in this bit, but that's going to do it for me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this video. I do appreciate it, especially since lately, after the copyright strike, kind of hurt my channel. I don't really care because I don't really do this as much for views as much as I do trying to help people and for fun. But I do appreciate every like, comment, all the support that you guys have shown. It does mean a lot to me. So it is one of those things where it is nice to get a first place finish with this, much like Drawn Sword. My brain is always looking for new combos, new advantages, new jobs a bay could do. So I do have some more of these planned. I know that this is the first real big major one, besides Big Hell's Chain this year. So I definitely want to do more of them because I find these fun, and getting to kind of show those findings with you guys is great. So again, please don't sleep on this. 460 high needle, you could run 960 if you want, but I'm telling you, high needle works pretty well on this thing. Yeah, so that's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.